Hello and welcome to Friday Live. I am your host, Strata lawyer Amanda Farmer, and we are heading out live right now to the Your Strata Property Facebook page. We're going out to LinkedIn. We are going out to YouTube. This is your wrap up of the week in Strata. And it's a little bit of a special Friday Live, I'm going to say today. I am here in my home. I'm not in my home studio where you might usually see me. I am actually out in our dining room, I'm going to call it. You can see this is the place where we set up the Christmas tree that's here in the background. I am able to be out of my studio where I lock myself away so as not to be disturbed by others who may be moving around the house on a Friday afternoon. I'm able to be out here free and easy this afternoon because I'm home alone. I'm the only one in the house aside from my two four-legged fur babies. One of them's on the windowsill in the background there. That's Barnaby. I'm home alone. Not Macaulay Culkin style. They didn't forget me, but my husband and my son have gone off to visit family for the weekend in Sydney, and I'm here in our country home. I have an event, a very special, very important event to attend tomorrow in the Blue Mountains. I'm traveling to. Michelle Saunders and I are having our annual office Christmas party. So we have lunch in Katoomba tomorrow, which is very exciting. And that's why I've been left home alone while the boys go off to do some early family Christmasing. And I'm here able to be out in the house, out and about in the wild, as I said in my email today, to share Friday Live with you, our final Friday Live for 2022. I did encourage you earlier today on the page, on the Facebook page, on LinkedIn, in my email, if you did want to bring a special drink, something that you like, maybe a cup of tea, coffee. I've got something cold here. This is my super secret glass. You don't know. You don't know what's in here. I'm going to tell you. I have today a vodka lime and soda, which I have just made up. It's nice and cool. You can see that there. And it's a bit of a celebration being our last Friday Live of the year. It is actually the last day, official last day for my legal practice. We shut up at 5 p.m. today. Having said that, there's always loose ends. There's a couple of clients out there I know who know that I will be around next week tying up some loose ends, as we professionals have to do sometimes. But officially, the last day and on holidays, last day of school today. Many of you will be on school holidays as well. So, Good Friday to be chilling, to be talking about some pretty hot strata topics. We do have plenty to talk about, even though it is the end of the year. There's always a lot going on. We are going to chat about this week's podcast episode. I interviewed Robin Johnson of Hutch Underwriting. I've already heard from lots of you in my inbox about that interview. Very interested to hear what Robin had to say. We are today going to talk about electric vehicles in Strata and what our industry association, Strata Community Association, has been doing for us in that area. We're going to have a look at the latest independent review of Strata insurance practices. This one may have flown under the radar a little bit for you this week at the end of a busy year, but I want to make sure that you haven't missed it. There is some important research that's been done, some really important recommendations in this review. So I'm going to give you a closer look at that. And we've got a follow-up or a follow-on from last week's chat about units that are uninhabitable and owners making claims against their owners corporation for the costs of temporary accommodation. So really popular chat last week. We're going to have a quick revisit to that one and a bit of an update I have for you there. But lots of you are deciding to join me here live for our final Friday Live chat of the year. If you are coming in, give me a hello in the comments. If you're on Facebook, I see those ones straight away. I can actually see the comments on LinkedIn too. If you're coming through LinkedIn, I'd love to hear from you. Cheryl is here saying hello with her usual bunch of flowers. Good to see you, Cheryl. Thank you for joining me. Michelle is saying they didn't forget you. They escaped deliberately. Yes, if you're just coming on in, I'm saying I'm out in the wild. I'm out in the house today rather than in my home studio because the boys have gone away. They've left me home alone. I just have the fur boys, the four-legged boys here with me. But you're right, Michelle. They didn't leave me home alone, Macaulay Culkin style. They did escape. And happy to have some alone time as we mums, wives, women often are. Kylie is here. Hey, Kylie, how are you? Saying you have your fur baby with you yet? Got my two fur babies. One's being very good down on the floor. One is wandering around. Oh, I think he's on the lounge there behind me. What you haven't seen of the Christmas tree here is that we actually have a gate around it. Can you see that sort of black gate in front of the fireplace? That's the Barnaby proof Christmas tree. If he really wanted to get into that thing, he would. But just putting the gate in front seems to tell him quite effectively, Barnaby, Christmas tree, not for you. So that's working. We'll see for how long. Denise is here saying, hi, Amanda. Thanks for everything you've done this year. Merry Christmas. And I'm looking forward to next year with you and our community. So lovely to hear that. Thank you so much, Denise, for sharing that. Thank you for being here on live, being part of our community and sharing your time with us. Michelle is saying it's party time. Yeah, it's our office Christmas party tomorrow. We're heading to Katoomba, which is a couple of hours-ish for each of us. We've got a lovely lunch booked there. Might take some photos and post them here on the page. What do you think, Michelle? Share a bit of our Christmas party with everybody here. Have a great Christmas, says Elizabeth. Great to see you, Elizabeth. Great Christmas to you too. Petra's here saying good afternoon. Hey, Petra. Kristen is here saying thanks for everything. Thank you, Kristen, for your sharing recently. We are going to come back on around to exactly what I'm talking about there. Kristen has shared some really important information with us last week and further during the week with me that I am happy to fill you in on with Kristen's permission. Sean's here saying hello. Shana saying Merry Christmas. Patrina is here. Cheers. Raymond saying hi. Catherine, hi. Brendan, Merry Christmas. Jan, Jenny, Sue, Gary, Nicole Johnson, hello, how are you? I'm going to bring your comment up because you're commenting on my tree here. Gorgeous tree. This is the tree that gets put together by the 9, almost 10-year-old. My husband helps. I'm not a Grinch, but Christmas tree, another thing to do. Parents out there, I know you might feel a little like this. Oh, got to put the Christmas tree up, got to take it down. So I don't have a lot to do with that. So I'm not going to take the credit. Thank you, Dr. Nicole Johnston. Happy Friday. Merry Christmas to you too. And can't wait to see you in 2023 as well. And David is here from Neutral Bay. I hope I've covered everybody who has said hello so far. Feel free to keep posting your hellos, your Merry Christmases, your happy holidays, your festivities, what you're up to at the moment. I've got my special last Friday live of the year drink here. Super secret. What's going on in there? I think we are ready to rock and roll. Of course, if you are catching the replay, so many of you do, I know, and you want to drop me a hello, please do. I always come back around and see those comments come on through. Hey, Lisa, I see you just coming on in as well. All right, awesome. What a great day for a Strata chat. Who has managed to catch this week's podcast episode? It went out to inboxes on Wednesday this week. Robin Johnson of Hutch Underwriting joined me to explain his company's new insurance offering and how he says it delivers better strata insurance outcomes for owners corporations in the middle of what Robin called a dysfunctional market. And that's not the first time this week that I have heard our insurance market be described as dysfunctional which is interesting. There seems to be a word that's going hand in hand with our strata insurance market at the moment. So, Robin talked about Hutch underwriting, new entrant to the strata insurance market, being able to offer our insurance brokers quotes for building insurance within 4 minutes. And I ain't a broker, but even I understand that that's pretty cool. And Robin was filling me in a little more off air about the technology that Hutch has had to wrangle to be able to do that. And as I understand it, they are the only offering of their kind that is able to offer quotes so quickly. I'm interested to know if anyone who is tuning in here on the page, any strata managers, I know we've got a few, any owners corporations, if you're aware of whether your strata manager, a strata manager's through the broker is tapping into Hutch's service. So I asked Robert in the podcast, is this something that owners can access directly or is it only for brokers? He did say it is only for brokers, but the best way to get connected to Hutch and make sure your broker is connected to Hutch is to have a chat to your strata manager and say, hey, are you aware, is our broker that we're using aware of this new offering? And the reason why I think that's so important that you are aware as owners that there is another offering out there and that strata managers are aware is because I hear so often and increasingly how hard it is for you to get quotes for building insurance. As strata managers to get quotes for building insurance, forget 2 and 3 quotes. To be able to get just 1 quote for building insurance, I know is so hard. And many buildings out there looking at sky high premiums or not able to get a quote at all. So being aware of, having access to, your broker having access to another place to go is, I think, a good thing, if only just to be getting a quote. The other thing that Hutch is doing, which nobody else is yet doing, is offering coverage for cyber fraud. So we talk about that, Robin and I, in the podcast, what that means, what kind of situation your owner's corporation might be covered for if they get caught up in some email scams, invoice redirection scams. We're seeing many, many of those now. There is an insurance product now that will cover you for your losses if you do get caught up in one of those situations. So that's exciting, I think. And one point that Robin made in the chat, and I didn't dive into this at the time, when I was listening back to the edit before it got published, which I always do, make sure that there's nothing in there that needs to come out, that needs to be fixed, that needs to be corrected. I picked up that Robin said, the Hutch team often suggests taking a higher excess. Robin used the term deductible, and I said, is that excess? And he said, yep, take a higher excess and therefore make less claims. He said that in our market, the strata market, you see so many claims for small losses. And all that does at the end of the day is increase your claims record and ultimately can put you as a building in a situation where you become uninsurable because you have too many claims. And I didn't ask Robin to delve into that and explain that any further on re-listening to it. I thought that I should have. So I just want to draw your attention to that. It may be something if you want to post under the episode over on the website. We've got a link here to the episode. You can post a comment there if you want to find out more from Robin about why he makes that recommendation about having that higher excess, encouraging your owner's corporation to therefore make less claims, and then not being able to be insured down the track because you've got a poor record. Sean McNamara, how are you? I'm just seeing your comment here about stars. I don't know what these stars are. This is a Facebook thing that I've noticed has come up on some posts lately. I'm seeing all your comments. So I hope that your comments are coming up under the video. The stars thing we'll have to look into. Rochelle and Christina, if that's something that you can look into. I think it's a Facebook thing, not the streaming service. I use StreamYard to come to you on all these different platforms. But the stars thing seems to be a new Facebook add-on that they're doing. I could be wrong. Maybe it is a spam thing. Sean, you're the tech guy. Help me out here. Let me know what you guys are seeing on your side. But I am here. I am real. And you don't have to send me stars at all if you don't want to. So check out podcast episode number 341 if you haven't yet. It's a goodie. Now, electric vehicle charging. Just, I think, towards the end of last week, I don't think it was in time for my chat with you last week. The SCA, Strata Community Association, has released their phase one state of play report about electric vehicle charging in Strata. And we have posted a link already on the page last week. It seemed to be a popular one for you to go and check out what this report has to say. I have a copy on my other screen here for you. And I will share it with you. Yeah, thanks, Sean. Yeah, the creator is not earning money with stars. No. I'm here for the love. Here for the love, guys, not the star money. I shall share my screen with you now, and we will have a look at the SCA's State of Play report. Link here for you if you want to go and check that one out for yourself. This is phase one. There will be two phases, we are told. I'm going to just scroll down to the summary here. The purpose of the report here on the screen, it's the first of two reports that will be released by SCA, and it is to act as a baseline layout of the state of recognition and support for the integration of EVs, electric vehicles, into Strata. There's no existing resource of this kind, and there is a need for government, stakeholders, and SCA members to have access to this information. So first of all, phase one, we're having a look at what the state of play is, where each of our states and territories around Australia are sitting in relation to their understanding of engagement with electric vehicles in Strata. And apparently in phase two, there will be a comprehensive analysis of the specific issues that the mass integration of electric vehicles into Strata will create. And that too will be the first of its kind. Quick scroll down to the way this is set out. It's worth having a look at. It's not overly complex or onerous, but there are some graphs here. And I think I'll just go, this is the national overview. It is a traffic light system to let us know where each state or territory government sits in relation to key policy areas on electric vehicle charging in residential strata. So the green light means that there has been a firm commitment made. Apologies, I can only see half my screen. I'm just going to move this. A firm commitment made to address a key issue. The amber light, there's been a recognition or partial commitment, and the red light, no recognition or commitment made towards addressing key issues. So what's standing out to me here is that there are red lights across the country for any funding commitment to retrofit strata electrical infrastructure relevant to EVs. I find that interesting, and SCA might be able to clarify this, or those who are part of SCA or have had a close look at this report be able to clarify this. I am just going to scroll down to New South Wales and this point about there being no funding commitment to retrofit strata electrical infrastructure. I thought that there had been, and if we look just down in the details here in the report, the New South Wales government budget introduced 38.3 million to support the implementation of charging infrastructure, and this includes 10 million to co-fund 125 medium and large multi-residential apartment buildings to make EV charging electrical upgrades. So that sounds like a funding commitment to me. It might be, SCA might be saying there's no funding commitment to retrofit some other strata electrical infrastructure that is supporting the installation of EV charging, perhaps. Maybe that could be clarified. But a great job to have done the work of being able to give us an assessment of where everybody's sitting and give everybody a scorecard here on their advocacy and implementation of this these policies relating to electric vehicle charging in our strata schemes. Well worth a look. And I do look forward to phase 2 of that report, which is going to highlight some of the problems that need to be addressed in this area. We're going to see a rapid surge in the use of electric vehicles in our country over the next few years. And this is absolutely something that needs to be tackled in our residential strata buildings. Sean, I'm still seeing your comments there about stars. I'd love to know if anybody else is seeing this thing about stars. Rochelle and Christina, let me know if there's any support that we can provide and any way that we can make things easier for Sean or for anybody else who is getting a notice from Facebook about stars. I ain't asking for stars. So sorry about that, guys. Denise says she's not seeing it. Interesting. Yeah, Sean, email me if you don't mind. Email me if you got some screenshots there so that we can look into that. Thank you, Sean, for saying it's a Facebook thing, not a YSP thing. Alrighty, John is saying on this point here, I think about our electric vehicles, wait until hydrogen vehicles come online. The electric fires will be nothing if they go off. Yeah, oh God, that sounds terrifying, John. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, Lynette saying she could see the stars, tap the X, and it went away. That sounds like a good tip. Thank you, Lynette. Sean, is that something that you can do? And Kristen can see the stars, but ignoring it. We're seeing stars. Look, I got a star on my Christmas tree. Maybe somehow I've manifested stars on the Facebook page. Yeah. If you can close that out, please do close that out, and we'll have a look at our settings in the background and switch off whatever it is that Facebook has done to collect stars. Okay, my meerkat, my puppy's turned into a meerkat. Oh, I've got two there looking out the window, my little meerkats. Let's just hope that they stay quiet for us with this experiment here out in the wilds of my living room. Okay, now earlier this week, I think it was maybe as early as Monday, I was prompted by Rochelle, one of our YSP team members here, to Amanda, go over and have a look at our media monitoring spreadsheet. There is a very interesting article over there about insurance, Strata insurance. And within about half an hour of Rochelle prompting me to go and have a read of that article, I got an email from Karen Stiles at the Owners Corporation Network, and she too was sending me a link to that article. But more importantly, she was sending me a link to the independent review, phase 2 of the independent review that is being conducted by John Trowbridge. And prompted me to, or encouraged me to read that report, form some views about that, and see if it was something that I felt should be shared with you here on this platform. I had a read of the article, I had a read of the report, I even had a chat to John Trowbridge himself, and decided that yes, indeed, this was a report that needed to come to your attention. So what I'm going to do right now is first up, share the article, the insurancenews.com.au article on my screen here. And we've got a link for you to this article. This is essentially a shortcut cheat sheet summary of what this independent review is all about and what it is that John has recommended in his phase 2 report. So headline says a bit, Strata review proposes revamp of convoluted remuneration. And John has concluded in his phase 2 report that conflicts of interest that can't be satisfactorily managed across the strata industry should be phased out, and that an independent review of convoluted arrangements within the sector has been recommended. Now, have a read of that report. I'm not going to keep reading it out to you because Louis has decided that he doesn't like that. So I'm going to stop there, and I am going to stop sharing my screen and see if Louis is going to stop barking. And if he doesn't, we will need to sort that out. This is just what happens when you're out in the wild, isn't it? When you take a risk, get out of the studio. Who knows? All right. Now, in the report itself, which I will also take you to shortly, it is said in the forward to the paper that Strata Insurance has become a very competitive business, especially among insurance brokers, underwriting agencies, and strata managers. And in the forward to, I call it a report, I think it's properly called a paper, the forward to the paper. This competitive business, says John, has generated two vibrant debates in recent times. Those two vibrant debates are this. Number one, strata managers commonly receive rebates of broker commissions, and simultaneously, brokers charge fees to owners' corporations. Both of these practices happening at the same time are confusing and are controversial. That's debate number one. Debate number two is about the affordability and availability of strata insurance and how problematic that is for some parts of our strata insurance industry. Now, John's paper, both phase one, phase two, and phase three to come, has been supported by, is funded by, quite openly, the Steadfast Group. The Steadfast Group is the largest general insurance broker network and group of underwriting agencies in Australasia. It is a top 200 ASX listed company, $7 billion in total billings. CHU is part of the Steadfast Group, and CHU created the very first strata plan insurance policy in Australia in the 1970s. So, in the report, that disclosure is made very openly and properly, I believe. And it is the Steadfast Group, says the paper in the forward, that is conscious of these debates that are going on and wishes to see each of them explored in depth and to contribute to solutions to these debates. In the forward, Steadfast says that they believe the market is, here it is again, the market is to some extent dysfunctional through its value chain from the customer, that's you, the lot owners, to the strata managers, to the brokers, to the underwriting agencies, to the insurers. And because of that recognized dysfunction, Steadfast has engaged John Trowbridge to undertake an independent review of this process. So phase one of John's paper was released back in July. It's something that I was aware of at the time, didn't talk about it here on the page or talk about it on the podcast. But it is something, when I've gone back through my emails, I saw that I did share it with a couple of you. I think some of you are watching who I know have a particular interest in this area. Phase one report was all about disclosure and the disclosure practices of what John calls intermediaries. And intermediaries are your brokers and your strata managers. So those who are sitting between the insurer and you, the owners corporations, who are ultimately having the protection of the insurance. So this is all about the role of those intermediaries, strata managers and brokers. And phase one, the phase one paper, which you can access through John's website, the phase one paper was all about the disclosure practices for brokers and strata managers. Now, phase two, this paper that has just been released this week, is about the remuneration, the money that strata managers and brokers get from being involved in this process of getting our owners' corporations their mandatory statutory insurance. And the paper is all about possible reforms, whether we need reform to that process and to the way that our managers and our brokers are remunerated, the commissions, the fees that they get, and if we do need reform, what that might look like. There will be a phase three paper, and that is going to be about competition, about affordability, and about the availability of strata insurance. So that is still to come. I will take you over and share some of what I found to be the very interesting parts of this phase two report in just a moment. But first, who is John Trowbridge? I'm not sure, John. I'll have to apologize to John. I will did promise to send him access to this replay, whether it's Trowbridge or Trowbridge. I'm just going to call you John. Okay, let's go with John. I know how to pronounce that. John has a distinguished career as an actuary, a consultant, an executive, a company director, and a regulator, working mainly in financial services with an emphasis on insurance related businesses. He founded his consulting company in the 80s, becoming a leading actuarial and management consulting firm in Australia and Asia, specializing in insurance and merging with Deloitte in 2000. John has held senior executive positions at QBE and Suncorp. From 2006 to 2010, he was the APRA member for insurance. He chaired the Australian government's review of natural disaster insurance following the 2011 floods. And in 2015, he chaired an industry working group to recommend reforms in the life insurance industry, which came into effect in 2018. He was the co-author of a review in 2019 for the RBNZ of lessons from the failure of CBL insurance in New Zealand. In 2021, John conducted an independent strategic review for the Insurance Council on the affordability and availability of commercial lines of insurance in Australia. So John is no inexperienced player. Kind of knows what he's talking about. And what you've heard me say there is that when John recommends reform, it happens. So this paper is really important for our strata industry. In his phase two report, which I'm going to take you over to, John concludes that there are two conflicts of interest that need to be addressed. Number one, where the strata manager agrees with the broker on a share of the commission to be rebated to the strata manager on the placement of an insurance policy. Number two, where the broker agrees with the strata manager on a broker fee that is paid to the strata manager, that is paid to the broker and is additional to the commission. So John calls this the commission rebate broker fee system, and he says that this is a system that should be phased out, and he's recommending that it be phased out starting in 2023. Now, these things are hard to talk about because I don't think it's just me, but they're hard to understand. It's hard for us as lay people, not involved in insurance, not involved as brokers, we're not underwriters. It's hard for us to understand this terminology, and it's hard for us to be aware of what is going on in the background when all we see as owners at the end of the day is what our premium is that we pay on our building insurance policy. And that is all that we care about, in a sense. What John explains, I think, quite clearly in his report, it's about 65 pages, very much worth reading all of those pages. He explains in his report what it is that's happening in the background and why at these certain moments of commissions being paid, being rebated, fees being paid, why we need to be concerned that there is the potential for conflict of interest and why it is that there then should be reform to avoid that conflict. One of the most fascinating parts of the report, and it's one that I'm going to take you over to now, if you're planning on having a closer look, having a read of the report, you might even want to start at this point. It is not page 1, but it is page 14 of the report, where John shares, and this is the first time that I've heard this, read this, John shares the history of the strata insurance market and how it has evolved. And this is fascinating. John goes right back to 1961 when strata title became a thing in our country. And he explains that strata insurance was initially just a suite of individual insurances, just like it might be for any other commercial insurance. And it wasn't until the 1970s that insurers started to come up with tailored packages of insurance for strata properties. 1978 was when CHU became Australia's first strata insurance specialist, and CHU has retained market leadership ever since then. And CHU back then used to work directly with strata managers, appointing them as agents, educating them on insurance matters. CHU would be paying the commissions to the strata managers for the work done assisting to place the insurance policy. Then other underwriters started to get involved. SUU became one of the most prominent in the 1990s, and others have emerged. And brokers in the 1990s, brokers started to emerge and began to specialize. Now, in 2015, and John's reminded me of this, in 2015, our legislation was amended to require our strata managers to get 3 insurance quotes. And that is when the role of the broker became so important to our strata managers. Our strata managers are busy. They find it hard to comply with the legislation and get the 3 quotes. So they are using brokers. And I think there are some stats there from John. In about 80 to 90% of buildings, there is a broker involved. And that is when these arrangements became more complex. I think the word that's used in the paper and is used in the insurance news article is convoluted, because the broker, strata managers had been accustomed to receiving commissions directly from the insurers, and the brokers found themselves rebating some or all of their commissions to obtain their broker appointments. So what they started to do instead then is charge broker fees to be able to get paid for their own services. Now, in talking to John and in reading the report, it's my understanding that this is a very unique setup in the insurance world, the way that our brokers, our strata managers are remunerated in this way. And it's not something that we see happen anywhere else. And that is why for a number of years, we've had these questions around this system and these investigations into what it is exactly that's happening and whether it should be happening this way. Always, I find the best investigations are always with the needs of the end consumer, the owners, those who are paying for the policy in mind. Are they the ones who are best being served by these systems? And ultimately, John has concluded that no, the way that we are doing things now is not necessarily in the best interests of our owners' corporations, and we need to have some change. To that end, John makes recommendations about what our insurance policy invoices, the invoices for our premiums, should look like. And this is another area of the report that I'll share with you that I found very enlightening. It is towards the end in one of the appendices here. I'm just going to scroll through very quickly to a template example of, oh, I've gone too far here. An invoice template and a quotation. So this is, the strata managers tuning in will find this very interesting. This is something that we do see. I'm a committee member in my building. I think I do see this, if we're ever able to get more than one quote, I do see this type of thing come through from my strata manager. The quote from the broker showing the 3 insurers who have been able to give a quote for your annual building insurance and how that quote is broken down. We don't get this level of detail now. And this is the level of detail that John is saying in his report. He recommends that we as owners, as committee members, strata managers should be getting at this stage. And it shows you exactly what the fee is that is going to the broker, and is showing you the allocation of remuneration, the strata manager's share of the remuneration and the broker's share of the remuneration, and how that's all allocated very, very transparently. And then ultimately the invoice for the premium, showing how that is made up of, what the broker fee is, what the strata manager's share of the remuneration is, and then ultimately what your total insurance costs, what your premium is on your policy that you as an owners corporation are paying. So this is where John suggests we need to end up, and really very quickly. So this kind of phasing out of what John calls the commission rebate broker fee system, he says should start pretty much immediately from next year. And we need to be moving to a more transparent system starting from 2023. I don't want to do John any injustice by attempting to summarize any further what his findings and his recommendations are, but it is well worth going and checking out that report. I said in some of my posts on the page here, and I think in my email today, that there are some findings in this report that are not going to satisfy all parts, all stakeholders in our strata industry. There are some things there that need to change and may be a little bit painful for some sectors, some parts of our those who are serving our owners corporations. I hope for that reason, that is not a reason for this report to not end up in the places that it needs to end up in. I think as many people as possible need to be reading this report. And that is why I was more than happy when I heard from Karen Stiles at the OCN and heard from John directly to find out more and to be able to share this report with you all. Okay, now many more of you coming in, having a chat. Apologies for the interruptions of my pups there, but I think we got through that relatively unscathed. Kylie was telling her my puppies are barking. Kylie was saying my puppies are barking back. Thank you very much. Gary's Google search. You're all looking at my stars here. Gary's Google searching Facebook stars is a feature that allows you to monetize your stream. Gosh, how appalling. I hope, can you actually buy any? Is it possible? I hope I don't have that even turned on. Send 200 stars to see my own comment. Oh, it must be a hacker. But can you still see your own comment, John? So it's telling you send stars, but you can see your comment anyway. Oh, well, I'm so sorry to have distracted you there, or that Facebook has distracted you there with all this talk of stars. I need to look into this. And Rochelle and Christina, we're making that note there to be able to do that. I'll go through and read those comments and try to get some more information there on what's happening. Do we have any comments about insurance commissions? Oh, good, Sean. You've got one ear on insurance commissions and one ear on stars. Very good. Sean's saying if commissions form part of strata manager income and are abolished, that income will be sought through base management fees. Yeah, for sure. And that's something that John acknowledges in his report, Sean. And he says that because of these arrangements, there has been an artificial lowering of strata management fees, which is a problem in itself. So that's definitely addressed in the report. I don't want to jump too much into that one once again, at risk of incorrectly articulating what John's points are there in his paper. Sean's saying, will you reimburse me if I buy stars? Don't buy stars. Don't buy stars. Go and read John's report. Don't buy stars. John Canning is saying commissions are rort and kickbacks. It's funny that we're talking about insurance 2 weeks in a row. And when I was talking to Robin Johnson of Hutch in our chat, which we only recorded the week before it went out, just off air after our chat, Robin said to me, Amanda, I'm surprised you don't talk more about insurance on the show, on the podcast or the live chats. And I said, yeah, kind of. We sort of have. And I've had a few people on. And I have to give an acknowledgement to Dr. Nicole Johnston, who has been here on the show talking about her very important report in this area and how strata managers in particular need to show the value that they're bringing to the arrangements that they're making, the insurance arrangements that they're making for their owners corporations. And I know John Trowbridge is well across Dr. Nicole Johnston's work in that area as well. So I have chatted to Nicole, have spoken to insurers in the past, spoken to brokers on the show. But I said to Robin, what do you think I should be talking about? What am I missing here? And he said, commissions. You need to talk more about commissions. And I immediately went, oh, commissions, that old chestnut. And there is a part of me that feels incredibly uneducated part of me who knows nothing about this area, who just feels like if we didn't have any commissions at all, then we could all just move on. Whether they're good, bad, need to be restructured. There needs to be some disclosure. There needs to be more transparency. If we just got rid of them, then we can stop talking about it and everything can be quite a bit more straightforward. That's my thought that I've expressed to a few people far more educated than me who sort of say, Amanda, it's not that simple. Fair enough. But I hear you, John. I hear what you're saying there. And accept that those kinds of opinions that you're expressing have room to grow, to be made when we have this kind of commission system. All righty. Now, moving on to any other comments here that are relevant to our topic that we are covering off, the latest independent review of our Strata insurance system by John Trowbridge, supported by Steadfast Insurance. Catherine is saying, do insurers quote directly to committees? I don't know, Catherine. I want to say no, but I don't want to incorrectly guide you there. So I think you may need a strata manager. You don't always need a broker, but a strata manager you may need. There would be self-managed buildings out there who have insurance. So having thought of that, then I'm sure they do. You may not have as many options though. Good question. Oh, Pamela saying, I arrange our strata insurance and save the owners corporations thousands of dollars. Very good. There you go. So that may be your answer there, Catherine. Thank you very much, Pamela, for that. Okay. You're all going hard and fast there in the comments. I'm not sure that I'm able to keep up too much with that. For those of you who are giving me goodbyes and heading out, you have a Merry Christmas as well. Thank you for that. I do want to make sure before we hit 5 o'clock and the dogs really go nuts, I want to make sure that we quickly revisit the chat that we were having last week about owners whose units become uninhabitable, usually because of water ingress is what my example was. It's a common one. Water ingress, a failure on the part of the owners corporation to properly repair and maintain the common property, the apartment's leaking, it can't be lived in. And the question that was asked was whether an owner-occupied unit, as opposed to a rented unit, if an owner-occupied unit becomes uninhabitable and the owner has to move in, rent somewhere else, pay for temporary accommodation, can that owner claim those losses, those costs from the owners corporation? And it was a quick chat that we had last week. It wasn't a long Friday Live like today. It was a shorter Ask Amanda Now session. And I answered that question in about 20 minutes. And my short answer was yes, owner occupiers are just as able, just as entitled to make claims under Section 106, subsection 5 in our Strata Schemes Management Act, make claims for their losses, for their damages that may be incurred as a result of an owner's corporation's failure to repair and maintain the common property. And I stepped through in that chat my thought process, the relevant law that I was relying on to be able to come to that conclusion. And during the course of that chat, Kristen, who was tuning in and is tuning in or was tuning in earlier today, said, Amanda, I'm so interested to hear what your view is because I have just come out of NCAT and I have won a case, quite a hard fought case, long case, against my owner's corporation, where I was claiming temporary accommodation costs as an owner occupier who had to move out, rent another place. The owners corporation defended that case, and just last month, Kristen received a decision in her favor, awarding her costs, and also combined with an order that her owners corporation does the work that it needs to do to fix her home. And there are a few people here on the page who were reading between the lines of what Kristen had posted and said, I'd love to hear about Kristen's case, how it is that she was successful. And Kristen has kindly been communicating with me this week on email and has shared with me a copy of the tribunal decision, the tribunal's reasons for decision. And I thought the lights just went on. I thought the tree lights might have gone on. That would have been nice. They might come on at 5 o'clock. I think the lights in the house just went on. My husband's a tech guy and sets everything up so everything happens automatically. It freaks me out every time, and I have no idea how to change anything. So Macaulay Culkin, Home Alone here, is just going to have to deal with it tonight. Kristen has very generously shared with me the tribunal's reasons for decision and has allowed me to share that, or has said that she has no problem with me sharing that with any other owner, any listener, any viewer who would like to have a read of that decision. It is not otherwise published, as I can find it, on Case Law New South Wales or on the Austlii website. So it is Kristen's personal copy that she has shared with me. If you do want a copy of this decision, please send an email to me at amanda@yourstrataproperty.com.au, and the team will, in reply, shoot you a copy of those reasons for decision. I must say, it's really important that I say, I was not the lawyer involved in Kristen's case. She was represented by lawyers in the case. Those lawyers were Grace lawyers. She was very ably represented by Grace lawyers who led her to a victory in that case. So if you'd like to have a read, it was interesting to read that after I had put together my thoughts on the law as I see it and as I apply it for my clients in these situations, and then to see that the tribunal was essentially confirming, in Kristen's case at least, that those were indeed all of the considerations that the tribunal takes into account when determining these kinds of claims by owner occupiers. The question of whether the apartment was uninhabitable and how you prove that. There was reference to the Residential Tenancies Act, Section 52, which we had a look at last week. The tribunal did look at that in Kristen's case, and questions about how that loss, the temporary accommodation costs, would be proven. That's all looked at in the case as well. So there are many of you, and increasingly so, I know, many of you who are finding yourselves in the situation of having to think about moving out, having to move out because of water ingress, because of dampness, because of mold. We're coming out the other side now of this bad weather that we've been through in Sydney. Yes, we have leaky buildings. We're now seeing these claims start to come through. I'm seeing them more and more come across my desk. I think I had 2 meetings last week with clients about mold issues and water penetration issues. It's going to be really important for owners as well as owners corporations, as well as lawyers, as well as us as lawyers, especially lawyers acting for owners corporations and acting for insurers who often get involved in these cases on behalf of owners corporations, to have a really good grasp of what the legal principles are and to be able to predict with some level of confidence the outcome of a case so that we can be properly advising our clients, not wasting their time and money, and not wasting the time of the tribunal with cases that should otherwise be promptly resolved. So if you want to have a look at Kristen's decision, the decision that was made by the tribunal in her favor in the context of her claim for temporary accommodation costs and claim to get her apartment fixed, send me an email, amanda@yourstrataproperty.com.au. And Kristen did send me a note earlier today, and she very generously said that she hopes the decision in her case has helped and continues to help my clients in a similar position and others in a similar position. She said no one should have to do any of this, have to go through what she and her family went through to have a clean, dry, safe home. And she hopes that by sharing some of the information, some of the process, then this ordeal can be shortened or perhaps won't happen for others who are in a similar position. And that would make all of her time, all of her effort, the money, no doubt, she spent on her lawyers over the last few years worth more than any financial reimbursement that she may have got from her owner's corporation. Alrighty. John saying we have some members claiming honorariums that I would not have confidence in obtaining fair value and will be vulnerable to kickbacks. You're on the kickbacks today, John. Honorariums should be approved at a general meeting, if I'm remembering my law correctly. So that's something to bear in mind, John. Sean saying that's me. Oh, these are my automatic lights. That's me, Amanda. Lights coming on at a set time before sunset. Yeah, it gets me every time. And then sometimes they're too early and then they're too late. Then they come on in the middle of the night because there's a malfunction. Technology works when it works. When it doesn't, it's very annoying. And Sean on the water mold, big issue. Water mold, big issue to try and work through the issues in Strata. So not happy dealing with storm water issues now. Happy I'm not on Strata management coalface. Yep. Clever man moving away from there, Sean. Okay, my email address again, I'm being asked by Carol Ann. My email address again, Rochelle, you might pop it in the comments here at risk of my inbox overflowing during the break. Amanda at yourstrataproperty.com.au if you want to grab proper English, a copy of Kristen's tribunal decision. I'm not going to upload it anywhere. I'm not going to send a link. We'd rather just keep it in-house. Let me know if you want it, and we'll send it to you on email. Okay, it is almost 5 o'clock. So many of you have joined me here today. I can see those numbers there with us live. I think that is amazing for a Friday afternoon at the end of the year when you're all so busy. I know there is a lot of pressure on strata managers at the moment, on committee members, on owners, just because of the time of year. So some of you have a lot of burdens. Some of you are out doing nice things, having Christmas parties and celebrating with colleagues and family and friends. I will be doing just that tomorrow with Michelle Saunders, part of our team here. The one part of our team who's here with me in Australia, Rochelle and Christina in the Philippines, are also part of our team. Unfortunately, won't be able to make our lunch in the Blue Mountains tomorrow. But now we've just lost a light. I'm still here. But Michelle and I will be celebrating our Christmas lunch tomorrow, and might pop a few photos here on the page to share that with you. This has been our last Friday Live for 2022. A couple of weeks off now. I will be back here with you live, and I have every intention to be back here with you live on the 6th. Friday, the 6th of January. There'll be a little bit happening on the page. We've got another podcast episode coming out next week. Rena and I have had a chat, and we do have a podcast episode coming out next week. That'll be the last one before Christmas. And then there will be a podcast episode in that same week of the 6th of Jan, the first one for 2023, which is really exciting. If you're not following at Your Strata Property on Instagram, that's a great place to keep in touch with me over the break. I'll probably be posting a few things there about what's going on over the holidays. I'd love to see you over there. And I want to wish you a happy, safe, festive season. I hope that you're able to rest, recover from what kind of feels like it's been a recovery year in itself. 2022, the year of getting back, getting up again, recovering, getting going. And that in itself has been exhausting for many of us. So I hope that you're taking the time out to be able to rejuvenate and get ready for 2023. Thank you for all of your support here on Friday Live. Started out couple of years ago as something I was going to do during COVID lockdown. So just keep connected and keep everybody connected to each other and keep you up to date on the always evolving world of Strata, especially during the pandemic. And we've just kept it up because it's been so fun. Because it's fun to be here with you and to have your support, have your questions. And I'm really looking forward to continuing that in 2023. I see all of your thank yous. I see all of your Merry Christmases and Happy Holidays there. I'll come back around tonight while I'm home alone and revisit those. I think that's it from me for this evening and for the next couple of weeks. Happy Christmas, happy holidays, happy New Year. See you all next time. Bye bye.